So just to like sum it up, pretty much all it is, you know, my goal at this point, and basically what I've been going through lately is just trying to make prayer a vice. I want that to be my new vice. And basically, sometimes, you just get home and you can just talk to the Lord about your day. It doesn't have to be so like rigid and structured. You can get to that part, but first, let's get it off your chest. The first form of therapy is spiritual. Once we get that part situated, then we can start looking at our options. So remember, the Lord is first priority, and that's basically this whole, like, in this like part of my journey right now. The biggest thing has been the fight to make the Lord priority, because anything could become priority. Sometimes work become a priority, kids, school, whatever it is. So many things could become priority that isn't necessarily the Lord. So we, or me, I have to make him priority. He has to be first over anyone. And that's where I'm at currently. So my next step right now is making prayer a vice, and learning how to combine that with all the other things I'm doing now. Don't get this wrong, because you don't want to get into too much of I'm striving and making a forced effort. No, it's more like you have to use your free will to make choices. That's the only thing the Lord gives us, is the free will. So using that free will wise enough to say, you know what, let me go ahead and just make the choice to go ahead and pray. Not that I'm trying to force it and make it a routine, or you pray at this time, do this. It doesn't have to be that structured. You can try to do that. I don't think that it's a bad thing, but just don't get caught up in making it routine. And I'm just saying it because it's happened to me. But hey, I'm not here to police how prayer is done. It's just more so, prayer should be a vice. Prayer should be a time where you can not only pray for others, you know, develop a connection, listen to God's voice, but then also sometimes it's just as simple as tell the Lord about your day. I'm trying to tell the Lord about my day and then move forward. That is healing. That is part of the healing. So right now I'm in the healing mode, healing process. But part of that healing process is spiritual. And the spiritual side of things, prayer is one of the number one ways of, it's communication, right? So if you're going to have healthy vices, one of the number one vice you want to have is prayer. As soon as you get off work, as soon as you finish doing something, it doesn't have to be long. Sit. That's where I'm trying to get to right now, where I can just sit. And once I'm there and I'm sitting, then we can worry about the working out. Then we can worry about going for a walk. Then we can worry about listening to music. Then we can schedule our sessions. Think about it. If you have all those layers of defense, you will be content. I'm trying to get to a place where I'm content. Not happy, but content. I know there's going to be moments of happiness throughout my life. But delayed gratification is the goal. You don't want to be stuck on chasing happiness, because that's what leads people to drink too much. That's what leads people to smoking. That's what leads people to all these types of unhealthy vices, drugs, and all these things, because they're chasing the high. The high is not what they're chasing. They're chasing happiness. Happiness. And part of the reason why they're chasing that happiness is not only because they've created that relationship to the dopamine in their brain, because they're doing something that gives you those happy chemicals, but also there's a void. There's a spiritual void. So that's what kind of keeps you stuck and enslaved in those things, because you're filling that void with something else. Fill yourself with the Spirit. Be drunk with the Spirit. Don't be drunk with wine. And that's where I'm currently trying to get to and what I'm working on. And hey man, I think that it's been a great process. I've learned a lot, and I've learned how much, like, put it this way, I've learned that you can make better choices. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be what the norm is or what's common. You can do what you like to do. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing what I like to do. I'm doing the things that make me feel content, and that's where I want to be. I want to be content. I want to be grateful for life, and I don't want to let these things, the stress, the problems, and all these things that come against us to be the ruler of my life. The ruler of my life is going to be the Lord, and I'm also going to be the driver in actively, placing these things around me as a layer of defense for my mind and for my spirit, so that way I can continue to walk in that contentment and not have these things that are trying to seek to destroy my health or destroy my mental. You know what I mean? And again, take all of what I'm saying with a grain of salt, because again, I am speaking on my journey and the things that I'm doing, and every man or woman has to know themselves enough to know what level of discipline they need to be at for each thing that they decide to do. So each choice, remember, the Lord will take into account, and he is watching. So we have to just be mindful of the choices that we're making. So let me just stop here, because like I said, this is turning more into like a message, and I mean, it's part of it. I do want to encourage anyone out there that may be in a similar journey as me, going through this sanctification process, which is not easy, which is not perfection, but you will be perfected through this process. You are being refined by fire, but you gotta go through it. Fire don't feel good. Fire hurt. That it burns. So right now, I'm burning, but let me rephrase that. I'm burning from the fire that I'm being put through, as far as what I'm experiencing. So we just need to accept that. I need to accept that. So I'm just working on, you know, making these adjustments while I'm just going through these experiences. So this is a bit of a long one, but at the end of the day, like I said in the last video, healing takes time, and I'm willing to go through that process. So, hey man, another Sanctification Sunday. Let's get it.